Welcome back everyone to the channel, and we have to look again at some very mysterious, interesting and also very uncomprehensive discoveries which tell us something very cruel, is that our humanity has went through a series of changes, and in the past the history is not what it seems. Starting off with this one, this is the celestial disk from Nebra. Is a bronze artifact with a diameter of 30 centimeters created around the 7th century BC. Now, right now this is in the Archaeological Museum of Halle in Germany. The disc is covered with a green patina, of which the Sun, Moon and 32 stars, including the Pleiades cluster, are depicted in gold. That is amazing. Surprisingly accurate positioning of the stars in relation to each other and the celestial luminaries. The disc even depicts the constellations taking into account the proportions, right? This indicates a very advanced level of development in astronomy back in the day. I don't know what systems they used effectively, but this knowledge then completely disappeared after a while, and then it was rediscovered during the, I would say, modernization of the world. Okay, so this is weird, isn't it? Like, why would people in the past have this amazing knowledge, and with what tools? That is just something very suspicious. Now, moving on closer to Earth, we need to look at this very suspicious map of Liberia and Asgard. As strange as it may seem, Hitler was convinced of the existence of more advanced civilizations of the past, and he wanted to find the knowledge and technologies of the past as well. But most interesting things begins after the Germans visited Tibet and the monks, who supposedly had something to tell them about past civilizations. Afterwards, the Anherber headed to the Antarctica, and judging by documents and maps, they tried to get into the hollow part of the Earth through different passages of the glaciers. To what extent this succeeded is completely unknown, as to whether or not anything can be found there at all. But purely by coincidence, it is strange that right after the Tibet, Hitler became interested in Antarctica, and together with the maps headed for the mysterious continent. In any case, this is impossible to know the truth, but right now, guys, believe me, this is highly suspicious, and some of the maps which we have are quite reminiscent of some knowledge of the past, and Antarctica keeps coming up as one place which could have a very deep connection to certain entries inside the Earth, right? Which is of course again very suspicious. Now, this is a photo of New York tunnels in 1913. That's right, New York tunnels 1913. Now, the scale of the bricks, as you can see, is very interesting, very weird, very well polished. The perfect masonry, and also what kind of transportation would they carry in these very weird tunnels. It looks almost like it was like a special floating device or something, and it splits up. So again, this is, guys, a very mysterious thing which nobody really is able to explain exactly why, how, and even how this was made so nicely, so perfect, so polished, and again, what was the purpose of making them in that particular shape. Now, looking on the Tartarian, obviously the past, the hidden continent, the hidden, I would say, country of the world, let's look at this particular interesting article from the Times. The Times newspaper of America, state of Louisiana, in the late 19th century published a very interesting note, and which says the following: in the various alphabets of the world, the number of letters varies from 12 to 202. The shortest alphabet is that of the Sandwich Islands, which has 12 letters. The Tartarian alphabet is the longest, containing 202 letters. Let me just repeat that for a second. The Tartarian alphabet is the longest, which contains 202 letters. This gives us understanding that the Tartars and the Tartarians had nothing in common with each other, because Tartar alphabet has 3 to 4 times fewer letters and is adapted from the Cyrillic of the Arabic language. So, very important. So the Tartary is effectively, there was two different cultures there, so the actual proper Tartary, as in the Empire of Tartary, had a massive, gigantic, alphabet, and this article is from the 19th century. So that kind of gives you some hint of the closed erased history of the past, which they don't want people to know, because this is of course uncomfortable truths. Now I want you to look at this photo, because this photo, guys, tells you a lot of secrets, right? Each time a landing, astronauts carry a very small suitcase in one hand. These small suitcases are connected by flexible tubes to the spacesuit and supply them with air. Mobile ventilation is needed because of the airtight spacesuit. Vapor and its own heat production quickly creates an unbearable climate and overheating. A similar device on the bas-reliefs of the Sumerians and the Mayans was called Bag of the Gods. Here it is enough that the Sumerians and the Mayans lived across the ocean from each other and painted identical briefcases of their own gods who descended from heaven, and remembering of the modern analog of the cosmonauts. So effectively, this brings in question the origin of the ancient gods and can be considered pretty much settled that the ancient gods came from the stars above. Obviously this, guys, is very obvious that it's very unique, because these gods, remember, these depictions from different continents are separated by the ocean. So cultures from the past have no way of knowing and simulating the same bag between different cultures and it's thousands of kilometers in distance, which means that effectively these people saw effectively the same gods. So guys, that's it for today's showcase on some of the most very controversial discoveries in history. And remember, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because in this place we're going to share a ton of information which is pretty much censored or just ignored in the mass media, just because it's information, it's documents, it's history, it's pictures, it's stuff which is effectively against the accepted history of our past, evolution, Darwinism, all these things which we all know that they are quite a lie. And the truth of our past, the resets, humanity, the ancient gods, all these things were there, but they don't want to talk about it, because if they start talking about it, then humanity will discover the true past of the world, and that is an uncomfortable truth which they don't want people to know, because the more power they have in terms of the knowledge and information, the more they can control society to their own liking. So guys, that's it for today's video. As always, I shall see you later in the next upload. Bye.